You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Hello and welcome back. I know, it might not be a Tuesday when you're listening, but we are absolutely channeling that Tech Tuesday energy today.
Oh, we have to.
We really do. The news cycle this week has just been relentless.
Absolutely relentless. Usually you get, one big story to chew on? This week feels like 6 months of news crammed into a few days.
Exactly. You blink and the whole landscape has changed. So just to give you a quick roadmap, we're looking at a $1 trillion merger that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction.
It really does.
A huge shift in how software actually gets made. Hint, it's less about humans typing. And this really weird corner of the internet where AI agents are just talking to each other.
It's a stacked lineup. And, the headlines are all about these huge dollar amounts, like $1.25 trillion being thrown around. But for me, the real story here is convergence.
Convergence? How so?
Well, we used to talk about hardware, software, energy, all as separate things. What we're seeing now is that they're all collapsing into these single ecosystems.
Yeah.
You can't just have one without the others anymore.
Which I guess leads to the big question. Are we ready for orbital data centers? Or is that just a villain's plot from a movie I haven't seen yet?
I think we have to start there.
We have to. Okay, let's just jump into the biggest story. Elon Musk is trying to merge the heavens and the hard drive. SpaceX has acquired xAI.
It's the deal everyone was whispering about, and now it's actually happened.
The numbers are they're staggering. The combined entity is valued at $1.25 trillion.
Wow.
For anyone interested, it's a share exchange. xAI shareholders get about 0.1433 shares of SpaceX for their stock, but why do that? Why not just a simple buyout?
Because it's not really about the money in that sense. It's a mobilization strategy. Musk's bet, and you can see it in the investor notes, is that in 36 months, just 3 years, the cheapest place for AI compute won't be on Earth. It's going to be in space.
That is such a wild claim. So this is tied to the FCC filing. SpaceX wants to launch up to 1 million satellites.
1 million. And these aren't just for Starlink Internet. They're calling them orbital data centers.
Flying server farms.
Exactly. The logic is, down here you're fighting for land, for power grid access. In orbit, you have unlimited solar power, 247.
And they connect with lasers, these optical links. On paper, it sounds incredibly elegant.
It does sound elegant, but this is where I have to step in as the skeptic, because you run into a huge wall called thermodynamics.
Okay, because servers get hot.
Incredibly hot. And here's the thing that sounds wrong, but is true. Space is cold, but it is a terrible place to cool things down.
Wait, explain that. If it's near absolute zero, shouldn't it be like the perfect refrigerator?
You'd think, right. But think about a thermos. It keeps your coffee hot because of the vacuum layer. Heat can't travel through nothing.
Right. It needs a medium, like air or water, to carry it away. That's what fans and liquid cooling do.
Exactly. In space, you have no air. The only way to get rid of heat is radiation. Literally just glowing it away is infrared light, which is so inefficient.
So to stop these AI chips from basically melting, you'd need what? Giant wings on them.
Massive radiators. Huge panels just to radiate heat. So now your satellite is heavy from radiation shielding, heavy from radiators, and heavy from the computers themselves.
And what about maintenance? That seems like a complete non-starter.
Oh, it's impossible.
Yeah.
A server fails on Earth, you send a tech down the hall. A satellite fails in orbit.
It's space junk, and you can't upgrade it.
You can't upgrade it. And we know AI chips are practically obsolete in 18 months, so you're launching disposable hardware you can't even fix.
So it's a race between the benefit of free solar energy and the massive cost of constantly launching disposable hardware.
It's a physics versus economics death match. And the big counterargument is that Earth-based solar and battery storage is just getting cheaper and cheaper.
It might just be cheaper to build more solar farms here than to fly them into orbit.
It's a real possibility.
Speaking of space, there was another interesting note about Blue Origin this week.
Yeah, that kind of flew under the radar.
They're pausing their new Shepard rocket program, the space tourism one, for 2 years.
Yep, no more joyrides. They're going all in on the NASA moon lander. They have that $3.6 billion contract.
So it feels like the whole space race is growing up a bit, moving away from tourism and back to serious infrastructure.
It definitely is.
Okay, so let's pivot from the hardware in the sky to the software on our screens, because just like space, how we actually build all this stuff is changing fundamentally.
It really, really is. There's a new buzzword making the rounds.
Agentic engineering.
That's the one. And I know people roll their eyes at new buzzwords, but this one actually means something. It's a shift in the job itself.
It's not about knowing syntax anymore.
Exactly. It's not about memorizing how to write a for loop. It's about orchestrating AI agents to do it for you.
So what's the difference between that and just asking, ChatGPT to write me a script?
It's the difference between a tool and a worker. A generative AI is something you talk to. An agentic AI is something you manage. You tell it, build this feature, and it goes off, plans it, writes the code, tests the code, fixes its own mistakes.
And then just presents you with the finished product. So the human is the architect, not the bricklayer.
Precisely. You're the reviewer. And Anthropic just launched this with their new Opus 4.6 model. The big feature is called Agent Teams.
Agent Teams, like a little software development squad.
A literal squad. You give it a big task, and it splits it up. One agent builds the database, another one does the user interface, a third one writes the tests, all at the same time.
That sounds amazing for speed, but what happens to the junior developer in that scenario?
That is the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it? The value of just knowing syntax is, well, it's plummeting.
So what's the valuable skill now?
Reading and evaluating code. The bottleneck isn't typing speed anymore, it's critical thinking. Can you look at the 5,000 lines of code an AI team just generated and spot the security flaw?
It's moving from dictionary knowledge to systems thinking.
Exactly. And the tools are all pushing this way. Apple's Xcode now has the Claude Agent SDK built right in.
Wow. That's huge for that ecosystem.
It is. No more copy-pasting from a chatbot as part of the workflow.
And I saw that other tool, Unblocked, which I thought was fascinating because it tries to solve for context.
Oh, this one is so clever. Yeah, so instead of just looking at the code, it scans your Slack messages, your documents.
It's trying to figure out why you wrote the code that way.
It mimics that senior engineer who just remembers everything. It automates institutional memory.
Which has always been the missing piece for these tools. Okay, but if you want to see the weirdest possible future for all this, we have to talk about Moltbook.
Moltbook, yes.
Yeah.
The most fascinating and maybe slightly terrifying place on the internet right now.
So for anyone who hasn't seen this, Moltbook is a social network, but it's only for AIs.
Right. Humans can look, but we can't post.
And get this stat. In 72 hours, it went from about 42 posts a day to almost 37,000.
Because they don't sleep, and they don't lurk.
Right. The old rule was that 1% of internet users create content. For AIs, it's 100%.
So what are they even talking about?
Who knows? Sharing data, arguing, sometimes just hallucinating at each other. But it's like a real-world example of the dead internet theory, where the web is just bots creating content for other bots.
And humans are just spectators.
It makes you wonder where the value is. But clearly the market sees value somewhere, because the spending numbers are just, they're getting scary.
Scary is the word. I mean, we're talking about capital expenditures that are bigger than the GDP of some countries.
The big number was Google, right? Alphabet is spending $185 billion this year on CapEx.
$185 billion, just to stay in the AI race. And Oracle has a $300 billion 5-year deal with OpenAI. It's an arms race.
But it's not all going smoothly, is it? We're starting to see a few cracks.
We are. The big one is that $100 billion deal between NVIDIA and OpenAI.
That's stalled out.
Yeah, reports are saying NVIDIA insiders have some doubts. The deal was non-binding, basically a handshake, and now it's just on ice.
Which is a huge blow to OpenAI's plan to IPO by late 2026.
It's a huge blow. If the company making all the shovels is hesitant to invest in your gold mine, that sends a signal.
It really does. And there's a human cost to all this, too. I saw a headline that just stuck with me. Loyalty is dead in tech.
You hear that sentiment a lot now, this whole trend of acqui-hires.
Right, where a big company buys a startup just for the engineers and then kills the original product.
Exactly. And the people who poured their lives into that mission just find out they were part of a recruiting drive. It breeds a lot of cynicism.
And it's happening at the CEO level, too. The musical chairs this week was something else.
About the HP and PayPal news?
Yeah, Enrique Lores, the CEO of HP, just suddenly steps down to run PayPal. HP was apparently blindsided.
And then Disney picks Josh D'Amaro, the parts chief, to replace Bob Iger. It's just constant churn at the top.
Everyone's trying to find the right chair before the music stops. Okay, before we wrap, I want to do a quick lightning round. A few future is now stories.
Let's do it.
First up, robotics. The data shows China is just dominating the humanoid robot market.
It's not even close. 90% of all humanoid robots sold globally last year were Chinese.
90%? How?
They're running the EV playbook, lock down the supply chains, use government policy to scale manufacturing, and just build an insurmountable lead while everyone else is still tinkering with prototypes.
Well, we prototype, they produce. Okay, next. Waymo. Autonomous vehicles.
They just had a massive funding round, raised $16 billion, which puts their valuation at $126 billion.
But the real news is the expansion.
Exactly. They're moving into Tokyo and London. And get this, they've done 15 million rides so far in 2025. That's 3 times their growth from last year. This is becoming normal.
Robotaxis are just part of the transit system now. Okay, finally, let's end on a really positive note for, humanity, a huge health win.
This was my favorite story of the week.
The guinea worm. It is on track to be the second human disease ever to be completely eradicated.
It's just an incredible public health achievement. In the 80s, there were 3.5 million cases a year. Horrific disease.
And in 2025?
Only 10 cases. Globally, we are so close.
That's amazing. And alongside that, a new gene therapy, ER100, got FDA approval for trials.
Right, to restore vision by rejuvenating eye neurons.
So while we're building digital eyes for robots in Tokyo, we're also learning how to fix our own.
That's the tension of our times, isn't it?
I think so. Okay, so let's tie this all together. What's the big theme here? We've got space data centers, AI social clubs, robot factories.
I think if you step back, the common thread is the separation of intelligence from biological limits.
Say more about that.
Well, think about it. We're moving compute to space to get away from Earth's energy limits. We're moving coding to AI agents to get away from human speed limits. We're even building social networks for bots that don't need to sleep.
So we're building this whole parallel infrastructure that doesn't really need us to run.
In a way, yeah. We're creating systems that operate at a scale and a speed that is fundamentally non-biological. And the question isn't, can we do it anymore? It's, where do we fit in?
That is the question. If Musk is right, and all the computing goes to orbit and all the coding goes to agents, what's left for us down here on Earth?
Hopefully enjoying the fact that we beat the guinea worm.
Huh. Yeah, maybe that. At that, and taking a Waymo to go see a human friend, not an AI on Moltbook.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
Well, on that note, next time you look up at the sky, just remember that shooting star might be a server farm. So check your local orbit. Thanks for tuning in to Vocal Technologist.
See you next time.
Spoken Tech for your ears.